Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so much is being said about Coach Prime and basically a collection of coaches in college football that are allegedly trying to more or less come together to strategize against his team and ultimately leave him looking as bad as he did against Oregon. A gentleman by the name of Joe Klatt has brought this to the world's attention, and you know, it's just a lot to really take in. Me personally, I look at this situation. The first thing I say, and this is going to be fair energy is what I'm trying to bring to the table before I start thinking about anything else. I don't believe that Coach Prime's team could have beat Oregon, even if this agenda was not allegedly in place. I don't think so. I think that Oregon would have beat Colorado that day regardless. The front line had Shedeur running for his life all game long. I watched good 3/4 of that, and I don't think it had nothing to do with an agenda against him personally in regards to those kids not having no chance against that front line. They just didn't. They were pushing them dudes around that were twice as big, and that was it, first and foremost. The agenda against Coach Prime is predictable. I think that even I can admit that the marketing poured into Coach Prime was a bit extra, and dare I say had stirring up resentment in mind. Dare I say sabotage from that standpoint. When you put him next to all the celebrities, put him in 8 and 9 different commercials, you know there's going to be an entity of energies that are not going to appreciate that on top of his personality, on top of his success. When you market him like that, you're asking for the hate. That's what I know. And nobody's looking at that side of it, but that's definitely a side of it. When you put a black man up there who's uber successful and uber charismatic and uber confident and extremely well liked, we understand that there's going to be a good majority of people, who ain't gonna like that. Okay? Just like they didn't like Muhammad Ali for that same reason, they ain't gonna like Coach Prime for this reason, especially since he left a black college for which a lot of people have resentment for him leaving in the first place. So he probably got some enemies over there too. To come into a college like Colorado that has a strong tradition that has nothing to do with this culture, and he came in, brought his culture to that culture, and basically not only turned around the entire school culture, but ultimately basically put all eyes on him in regards to college football. I don't watch college football at all. I haven't watched a college football game a full college football game in over 15 years, but I haven't missed a single game of Coach Prime. That's basically what he's brought to the table, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to dislike that for all the reasons mentioned and several more. So the hate that he's receiving, though not necessarily in this form, is extremely predictable and, dare I say, orchestrated. People trying to arise jealousy in the hearts of others. You got to look at the start of certain things, not just the result. This is the reaction to that. But the reality is, those who marketed him, they knew this was coming in some form. They knew this was coming. When they stick him next to The Rock and all that, they knew this was coming. Because we've already seen Muhammad Ali. We know how this goes. And we know how people react to that energy. We know. The question I have is, why is that so threatening? For those who don't want to acknowledge the racism aspect of it, I want somebody to give me a reason why it's so very offensive for a black man to be cocky and excellent at the same time. Why is that? If not for just pure utter hatred and wanting black folks to just stay in their place and be humble even when they show a certain level of excellence. You know, I was listening to a guy by the, I don't know his name, but he has a platform called Dreamers Pro. And he was referring to Shannon Sharp sitting down with Stephen A. Smith, and he said that he didn't understand why Shannon Sharp was so humble in the presence of being excellent, saying that he was so appreciative of getting the ESPN job because he felt like anybody who had a platform, who had the money to get Shannon Sharpe once he was let go from Fox, should be willing to give him that opportunity. They should be willing to throw the book at him because of what he brings to the table. You know, if you look at the numbers on First Take, he's brought a whole 150,000 more viewers to the channel. He's a confident, excellent, charismatic black man who has excelled in everything that he's done. But he showed a certain level of humility, and the gentleman from Dreamers Pro didn't know why. This is why, bro. This is what Shannon understands. You got to humble yourself if you don't want these people to do this to you. For the charisma that he provides, for the excellence that he's displayed in many different categories, this is what he's guarding against when he shows a certain level of humility that he doesn't necessarily have to show. They want you to show that, or they ain't going to want you around. And it's a certain energy that's been in place all this time, and Shannon knows how to balance himself in it so that he doesn't have the hatred that he does not want for being as excellent, as charismatic, and cocky as otherwise he would be. Charismatic, excellent is fine. Cocky, that's when you start crossing the line with those people. Now, why that is, I don't know. I got my thoughts. I don't like it. But I also understand what Shannon's guarding against when he comes in with a humble heart, even though he knows he's bringing so much to the table and don't have to be humble. He don't have to be. He's got the charisma. People are going to draw themselves to him. He's got the excellence. He wears the jacket. He's already been through the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest tight ends to ever play. He got 2 Super Bowls. He don't have to be humble about nothing. But yet he does if he doesn't want the walls to close in on him by those who are like this. And it's a lot of them. Prime didn't guard against that. He didn't come in with his head tucked down saying, you know, even though I got all this excellence, I'm still a black man, and I'm still sorry for anything that would otherwise arrive against your energy that would ultimately be supreme against me. And that is exactly what he's guarding against. And I'm telling you right now, it's nothing short of just simple, blind racism. When they don't like you, they will team up against you for being cocky, excellent, and black. You better pick one. You can't be all three. Ask Muhammad Ali. You can't be all three. And that's just what it is. So if you notice any other excellent black people who are both charismatic, have everybody draw to them just natural off their personality, and excellent in what they do, rarely lose, they tend to tuck their head to some degree. And if they don't, they end up getting this. Ask Kanye. You understand what I'm saying? And even when you show a certain level of this, you better not pull a Will Smith. You understand what I'm saying? There's certain things you cannot do, or you still get it on the back end. Shannon knows that. And that's why he comes in humble to ESPN. You got to, if you want a job with them. You got to if you come from the NFL. And so I just understand. Look, man, I understand this. I've understood this for a very long time. I think a lot of people understand this. If you're black and you're like that, they ain't gonna like you. And if they don't like you, they're gonna try to get you out of there. And they're gonna go by hook or crook. They're gonna whatever. They're gonna get you out of there. You better come in with your tail tucked between your legs, even though they don't have to if they have all that you are in them. They don't have to do that. But just the same, they don't believe in being cocky to begin with, which is why they hate that. They don't really like cockiness. Even in each other, they don't like cockiness. So they ain't gonna like it from you. Because they spent too long keeping you in your place for you to step out of it and be all that happy and all that stuff. You better know who's under you, who you under. And that's how it is. At least that's how they want it to continue to be. Not confused. Because we've seen them do this to us every time we get anything. Anytime we get confident and feel too good about ourselves in this land, they remind us that this ain't our land. We were brought here against our will. And if you ever forget that, no matter how successful you get, they're going to make sure you remember it. And that's exactly what this is, if you ask me. Don't start thinking you can be a supreme. Don't start thinking that. You can be excellent, you can be great, you can be talented, but don't start thinking you can be supreme. That's what that is, if you ask me. I don't understand it. I think it reflects poorly upon good people who are not black, too. It makes black people and other people look and say, well, that's how they all are, and that's just not true. But I think that's the evil in the circumstance. I think that's really what it is. It's self-hatred that makes people act a certain way and be seen a certain way that would otherwise welcome a certain energy or welcome a certain negativity upon themselves. No different when we do it in whatever way we do. You got to ask yourself, do I hate all of us for making us look so hateful? Because that's ultimately what you're going to be seen as, hateful. When you allow yourself to be seen that way. When you come together to destroy somebody who's confident in themselves. It reflects poorly upon not only yourself, but everybody who looks like you. No different than any other circumstance such as that. And that's what I've come to understand as I've gotten older. I don't just look at stuff as black and white. I say, yo, anytime somebody does that, they reflect poorly upon people that don't deserve to have that reflection upon them. People who don't feel that way, who support Coach Prime, who support Muhammad Ali, who support African Americans or what have you, they put a bad image upon their own people, and it's wrong. Just like we do when we act a certain way and act crazy and do all kinds of stupid stuff, it reflects poorly upon us. So that's what people need to start guarding against. They need more individuals like this who came out and let us know that, to try to reflect a balance about this. So we say, okay, we have somebody and many somebodies who don't think like this, while they continue to be as loud as they are. Because just like any other evil, it's not the majority. They're just louder than everybody else. That's all it is. Just like any other evil, it's going to try to make it look as if there's many, 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 many of them when it's only a handful. And that's evil in the circumstance. So I'm just understanding that. I'm deeply, deeply understanding that. I'm not disturbed by what I'm seeing. I'm not surprised by what I'm seeing. I just think it was stirred up. It was stirred up from the jump. You put him in every commercial. Put both his kids on the team. His kid is a fantastic player. Like, there's so much to hate there if you're like that. There's so much to look at in regards to Coach Prime and say, God, I hate this dude. I've hated this dude all my life. He's been winning in baseball. He won in football. He won in college football. His kid's great. It looks like he's going to go through a whole nother generation of this. Even if he ain't around, Shador and his other son, they're going to be great. Here we go again. We can't. Generational wealth. You understand what I'm saying? Generational wealth. When you destroy Black Wall Street, you destroy various different black things. Back in the 20s, just anytime black folks came together to get something really good about themselves, they destroy it. Why? Because they didn't want us to have generational wealth. You can have wealth in your one little generation. You can go to bed a rich person, but please don't think you're gonna pass it to your kids, black person. They have rigged the game against that a lot of the time. Anytime it looked like you were gonna build something that could actually have you somewhere in that wealth gap, they make sure that gap is further apart. And that's what all these images are about, in my opinion. All the sexy reds, all the spinning the blocks, all that's about keeping all that energy with the blue face and this girl that they going through toxic relationships, and they constantly put it in our faces like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be. Act like that. This is what you're about. Don't trust no black person. Don't trust nobody. Don't ever believe in love. Don't ever come together to build something that can go on for generations. And anytime it looks like you're going to have that, we're going to take it. It's what it's been. So, like, this is just another extension of that. As I always tell y'all, man, evil, no matter what form it is, it's not a creative. It's just going to keep on doing the same stuff over and over again. God is a creative. Good is creative. Evil, it's repetitive. That's why I know it when I see it. That's why I teach everybody when I do see it. So, this is just an extension of that, man. It ain't nothing new. Shannon Sharpe is doing what he has to do to keep himself in the room. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I would tell Dreamers Pro. That's what he's doing. He's doing what he has to do to keep himself in the room. Because he knows this. If he comes out Muhammad Ali style, Coach Prime style, they ain't going to love him like that. We'll love him like that, but those who are behind the curtain, who control this type of stuff, they're going to make sure that he don't succeed. Or they're going to do everything they can to keep him from succeeding. And it's a lot. Question is, how can we understand this a bit better so that they can stop? Because there's a good majority of people, as you can clearly see in the numbers, who like Shay Sharp, who like Muhammad Ali, who like Coach Prime, they don't want to see him not shine. They don't want to see his kids not succeed. They coming to see him succeed every day. They coming to patronize everything he sells. You understand what I'm saying? So that's not the majority. The majority is showing you how they feel. It's those in control who've always had an agenda against black folks and getting closer to that wealth, getting the information, getting the understanding that they try to keep us from, so that we don't ever get close to them, so that we don't ever change the stuff that they have in place that's continuing to stir up the nonsense that ultimately leaves us with bad fates. I keep on telling y'all, it's all related. Bad food, cigarette smoke, everything you could think of is supposed to take us off the earth. It's likely with energies like this behind it. And they know people like me, if we get cocky, successful, and show excellence, we will debunk what they do. We will take our creativity and show it to all of you. But you don't have to do what they do. You don't have to do what they tell you to do. You don't have to enjoy these cultures, because they're not anything to enjoy. They're trying to keep their generational wealth in place forever and ever and ever and ever. And anytime someone ever threatens that in any way, or looks like they could threaten that in any way, here it comes. And you know what's the biggest threat to that? Something with full on 100% confidence in itself and excellence to top it off. It's genius. And it gathers everyone. And that's what they fear the most. I just understand it. I've prayed about this a lot. I know. I'm not confused what I'm looking at. I know the energy. I know the evil. And it ain't just colored, because they do it to their own people. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.